Hello everybody and welcome to The Park. I am your host Paul Rodriguez and this is my personal audio log recorded content. And I wish that I could say that I'm feeling amazing and well rested, because I recorded the last episode the day after I published episode 4, so that gave me a really big break to kind of relax and hang out with some friends throughout the week. And I just love that. I mentioned that was what I do in my spare time, is to be out with my friends. And I gotta tell you that the people that I surround myself with, I love them very much as school or work or other priorities keep us separated. It's really heartwarming to know that when we get together, it's always a good time regardless. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. Moving on, it's not really what the podcast was about. But yeah, moving on, I was feeling relaxed because I spent most of my last weekend at home. That means the week before this week, 2 weeks ago. And this weekend, I spent it with the amazingly talented people of Youth Communications. And despite not having any sleep, I had an awesome time regardless. And perhaps I'll go on about it some other time. And I'm currently in the mood of writing, cooling down with a drink. It's good. It's some sort of mango juice blend. I don't know. The bottle had a carrot on it, so I think this has carrot in it as well. And I put a little something special in it as well. But believe it or not, my room is still much like a sauna, despite how cold it is outside. And I don't have the fan on, but I really should, because I am just burning. I'm just like sweating bullets right now. But I think the white noise from the fan just might make my audio much more worse than it already is. But anyways, the last weekend, I did nothing at all. Sorry, I've been going on a couple tangents. But yeah, last weekend, I was just laying on my bed for like a good few hours, just thinking about life. Like, what should I talk about in the podcast, or for the next few weeks at least, and like who should I have on as well. And I guess it just popped into my mind, like resting and relaxation. And so my mind was going off to kind of document the things that I've been doing that keeps me well relaxed and well rested. First of all, I can't lie. If I lie in bed for too long, I just feel like I've wasted the day, especially when I get up and it's like 3 p.m. Like, yeah, it might feel good, but what feels better is that I'm productive, but still in a relaxed state of mind where I don't have to worry about finishing on time or doing things out of obligation. It's mostly because I want to do it. And when you're just doing it for the heck of it without like any expectation and just having fun with it, it really opens up into something more beautiful than you could have ever thought of or would have ever been. And for example, I had this one idea to change my profile picture on Facebook. And this is something a lot of people don't know, is that I'm very meticulous of what I choose to represent myself on social media. Nowadays, at least, because I know before I would just like post a selfie of me that I took through my really crappy webcam or through my phone, not even a flattering angle, right? And my profile picture on Facebook, I want it to represent something of me, and have it also professionally produced, right? And I know my friends, Diego from the last episode being one of them, we went out for a lot of photo shoots last summer, and I would always love their shots. I'd have a new profile picture almost every week. And, in addition to those photos, I also wanted to create something that was representative of myself, that was, my own kind of artwork, but, still have my face in it. And I was thinking, what if I just created some shapes in paint that closely resembled my face? Because at the time I was going to Langara, and I just got my student card, and surprisingly, I really loved it. It was honestly the best piece of photo ID that I'll ever have. Like, I look good, I'm smiling big, I'm very orange. And as I was going about it, like, I was thinking, damn, how do I do this? But as I got the general concept down, everything felt like it was flowing more freely and everything was just falling into place. And by the end result, oh my god, I loved it. I definitely wanted it as my Facebook profile picture, but you know, I set it to private so that no one could really comment on it. I just didn't want praise or criticism for something I was just doing out of fun. But yeah, that was something I really enjoyed making. And I think playing around and exercising my skills in photo editing software, it really relaxes me when I know I can do something, finding a way to do it, and then doing other similar things in different ways, right? It's something I can really find joy in. And I actually just did a similar thing, the same process. I wanted a new profile picture, but I also wanted it to be representative of what I feel right now. And I would say it counted as procrastination as well, because I was actually doing this before my assignment that was due the next day, and I was actually working on this until like 2 a.m. and then I finally started my homework, but got it done nonetheless. And because, you know, like, when inspiration strikes, you just gotta seize it, man. And I've actually had this idea for a while. I just needed to learn the basics of actually drawing in Adobe Illustrator, because I recently just got a graphics tablet so that I could like draw freehand without, you know, just using a mouse and a keyboard. But anyways, this new idea that I had for a new profile picture, what can I say? I love how it turned out. I had the concept of a self-portrait kind of thing, because that's what it really was. It was a selfie, like what I used to do. And I knew that I wanted to bring it more to life, you know, like evanescence, like how can you see into my eyes, like open doors, right? just kidding. But yeah, it was a matter of tracing my face, tracing my hairline and my glasses, and I think it turned out to be much easier than I anticipated, which was really reassuring for me, because I was struggling to get the program to work the way that I wanted it to. And you know, so after the face, it was the rest of the body. Well, like just my shoulders and up, not a full body photo. I don't know how you can take a full body selfie without like using one of those selfie sticks or whatever. But yeah, I decided to draw on a polo, but you know, not just any polo. It was a Gucci polo, a Gucci polo with the snake on the collar, and I also had it on a background of if you guys know what a Gucci sweater is, like I had the Gucci pattern background, and you know, I think through that I wanted to express and portray the vanity that I have for my appearance, but also contradict that with a caption of me not being able to afford such frivolous and materialistic things. But yeah, anyways, playing around with design, right? It's one of my hobbies that keeps me well relaxed. And during this whole process too, I listen to music to kind of keep my focus on drawing, and it's not exclusive to drawing, such as maybe like writing out an episode for this podcast or doing homework. And I don't know if you guys know about this, but the kind of music that I listen to, I absolutely love the live channels on YouTube that stream lo-fi hip-hop 24/7, like all day, you know. And it's the ones with the Simpson thumbnails. You know, I think they call it like Simpson wave or something like that, something weird. It's crazy that that's become a genre, and I really love it, actually. I love just blasting it in the background, because especially when I'm studying or, you know, painting or just writing out stuff. It's because it has incomprehensible lyrics, and I think if I listen to anything where there's like coherent singing or rapping, when I'm trying to focus especially, like I'm just gonna end up paying attention to the song rather than the work that I'm doing. And also on lazy nights, I just lie on my bed, I'd blast a stream. Granted that I've done everything that I needed to do, right? And another thing that I do for fun, Diego and I touched on it briefly in the last episode, is that I like to cube or solve puzzles or what have you, mainly just solving the Rubik's Cube for fun, especially when I'm like waiting for someone in the parking lot or trying to brainstorm ideas or just feeling a little bit stressed, like just keeping my hands busy and turning a Rubik's Cube, it keeps me off the edge. And I don't know, man, there's just something about it that gets me relaxed, like the way that it clicks and the way that I can have disorder turn into order at a turn of the cube, right? I also let me share to you about how I got into cubing in the first place, because really it just started off as a curiosity. I think there was a post on Reddit. I can't remember which subreddit, but I'm fairly sure it was on the front page, and it was about how to solve a Rubik's Cube. So my family and I, we were going on a trip to the Philippines last year, and I knew that there probably wasn't going to be a lot of Wi-Fi or any of the similar devices there. So I thought, maybe I can learn to solve a Rubik's Cube. You don't need Wi-Fi to solve a Rubik's Cube. So I grabbed my brother's Rubik's brand cube and was following the instructions to the best of my abilities. And I remember him walking into my room later that night and noticed that I was trying to solve his cube off of an infographic off the internet, and he could obviously see me struggling. So he told me that it was easier to learn it off of YouTube. And it was already midnight, and I was just really, really determined to do this. So after an hour, who was it? I was following Noah Richardson's tutorial. There's an old one. I'm just checking it out right now. It seems like he has an updated tutorial, but I don't know how that is. Anyways, it was honestly really easy to follow, especially for complete noobs like me. So I tried it about like 2 times more that night, just trying to get a hang of it. And I also took screenshots of particular steps, just in case I forget, so that I force myself to remember these algorithms. And by the end of the 2 weeks, I could actually fully solve a cube by heart. Well, by memory, but I guess by heart, right? And yeah, I was really proud of myself. I always wanted to solve one of these, but now I solve it as a hobby, and I find that amazing. Because I honestly never thought that I'd have a hobby ever. But yeah, the original plan was that I had a 13-hour flight to learn the Rubik's Cube, but no, I learned it all beforehand, and now I get to watch movies on the flight and solve a Rubik's Cube in between the cool action parts of X-Men Apocalypse. And at that time, I could only solve a cube in like 4 minutes. I say that like it's horrible, but honestly, it's a really accomplishing thing to do. No matter how fast or slow you can solve a Rubik's Cube, it's really impressive to people that don't know how to solve one. And while I was in the Philippines, I was in Cebu, and you'd think I'd be relaxing on a beach, but no. My new obsession was coming into fruition, and I really wanted to scout all the malls in the Philippines so that I could buy a new cube, because this old Rubiks brand that my brother had, it just got so stiff. And yeah, I was in Cebu. I think my brother, me, and my cousin went to the Ayala Mall or something like that. I don't really remember the name, but I finally found it in like a board game shop. It was a Moyu Yulong for the nerds out there watching and wondering. I'm guessing because it had the Moyu sticker on it for some reason instead of the YJ logo. But yeah, basically the same cube, whatever. But I was so excited, and it was just so amazing. I imagine it to be like the first time you take heroin. Okay, I won't take it that far, but honestly, that was the start of my cubing addiction, and I think I have like more than 15 cubes scattered around this house, you know, varying from 2x2s to 3x3s to a big Megaminx, which is like a dodecahedron, 12 sides. And it's basically the same concept as a Rubik's Cube. You just gotta get all the sides the right color. Sounds easier than, well, sounds easier said than done, right? Because it's such a pain to solve. Like, literally, my hands hurt after trying to solve it because it's so hard to hold all those 12 sides and it's just flopping all over. But yeah, anyways, that hobby, it kind of went away for a bit. And then later that year, I was actually traveling to Vegas with my friends and family, and I thought it was just time to pick up the cube again, for the plane ride at least. And while I was there, my friend wanted to learn how I solved a cube, and surprisingly she had a lot of patience to deal with me teaching her how to solve a Rubik's Cube from scratch. But eventually she got it, and I was really proud of her. But I was more proud of myself because I could teach it all either. Like, man, I didn't think I would be able to do it, because like explaining how algorithms work and all of that stuff, you know. But whatever. After that trip, I was back in Vancouver, and I just heard about Vancouver Winter Open 2016 through like a YouTube video. And Vancouver Open is a cubing competition, so I decided to join because I had my average time down to like 45 seconds. So I thought that I could make it somewhere not in last place. And I was right. I got 1/15th place. That's 115 out of like less than 130 competitors. And I found that crazy because most of the competitors, they were kids, like legit kids, like 8 to 12 year olds, right? Like, it feels bad. I'm 21. But I really still enjoyed the atmosphere. I found that whole experience was really awesome too, because I was unknowingly sitting next to a cubing celebrity, and I'm sitting there wondering why everybody's asking this guy sitting next to me for an autograph. And so I heard someone say Kevin Hayes. I'm like, who the heck is that guy? So I was Googling him right beside him, and it turns out he was actually the record holder for a few big cubes at one point, and I think he still is the record holder for most cubes solved underwater, which is 8, by the way. Like, imagine that, solving 8 separate cubes underwater in one breath. That's crazy. Like, I think I'd drown by the time I solve 1 or 2 cubes. But yeah, I think that's really what solidified my hobby in cubing, was having a really nice community. And speaking of, after that event, I was actually added into a Facebook group where other people like to solve Rubik's Cubes as a hobby. And I was just thinking to myself, wow, oh my god, I'm a total nerd now, with a nerd community. Yeah, but anyways, they're great people. Like, I got to meet great people, and I'd love to hang out with them again soon. There's this one guy that always organizes cube meetups every few weeks, and a few people go, and we just chill, you know, have a good time, grab some bubble tea, eat some sushi, play pool. You go paintballing once in a while, man. You know, it's just a really good time with them. And you know, I guess hanging out in general is a great thing, man. I guess I take back what I said about hanging out with my friends not really relating to this podcast. So yeah, hanging out with people is something I really enjoy, and I think it's a really healthy thing to have good social relationships. For me personally, spontaneous hangouts till 4 a.m., jamming out at someone's house even though I don't play an instrument, and you know, just having someone to talk to anytime. All of those, from playing around with graphic design, solving a Rubik's Cube, to just chilling with friends, man. That's all of that relaxes me. And I'd love to be relaxed forever, but I have a lot on my plate right now, and I think rest is the last thing on my mind. Well, more like the first thing on my mind, but the last thing that I want to do. Because I know better than to brush off my responsibilities. But anyways, we're already over time on this episode, actually. Thank you again for those of you that are still listening. Tune in next week. Subscribe if you haven't already. You're not really obligated to. It's entirely your choice. And have a good day. Good night, wherever you are. And thank you all for visiting the park.